Hi everyone, welcome to to our very first GeoDrops live stream. It looks like we actually have a bit more than 50 people online today, so thank you so much for taking the time. We know that several people actually ping us saying that they're not able to make it live today, but they'll definitely be watching videos afterwards. So if you got other friends or people you think will be interested in this, please definitely share a link. So first of all, hi, my name is Lawrence. So I'm the founder and CEO of Home Digi Inc. and also for Team GeoDrops. I'm the one who started this whole adventure for our entire team. And we had a lot of really fun stories and things that we want to share with all of you today. But before we start, let me play a little video from Andy.
May 7th of this year, I installed one of the first GeoDrops soil moisture sensors right here in my front yard. And today is August 7th, exactly 3 months after I installed the sensor. And I'm really happy to report that the sensor has held up very, very well. It appears to be a very durable sensor. The construction's really good. I'm really happy to say that the Wi-Fi connection is also really strong. Pull it out. It's got a really good lock on the soil. Blades are in really good condition. Quick look. The first screen, you see your sensor accuracy, and look, it says bad, and that's because I simply put it directly back in the hole that I removed it from, and what I should do is reinstall it per the directions once again, and you can even click on it to interact, and with these spikes, you can see either my watering pattern or rain or both. It's just showing you moisture going up and moisture going down. Surface temperature is also really neat to see. You can see that here on August 6th, we had a cool spell. And you can see that, let's say in mid-July, the soil maintained its moisture a little bit more. So what I would expect is that if I looked at the weather, I'd see that there was a little more rain and it was a little cooler. And then here, towards the end of July, the temperatures went up and I was not able to maintain moisture as well in the soil. That, my friends, is my 3-month update. Good luck with your GeoDrops and happy sprinkling.
So yeah, so that was Sprinkler Nerd Andy, and he runs the Sprinkler Supply Store. We're actually really blessed to be able to have him as one of our beta testers as well. And we actually have a lot more beta testers helping us test our device. So I want to share a lot of those with you guys today. But before we start, I want to just walk people through the history in terms of how we started, right? What started all of these. This all started around 3-4 years ago when I installed one of these in my house. So this is a Rachio smart irrigation controller. And as many of you who have used Rachio before, you probably realize that, hey, the controller actually does a lot of things. It actually has its own internal algorithm trying to figure out various things to actually help recommend the right way to actually water. Well, it turns out a few weeks later, my lawn was actually looking like this. And so it actually didn't water enough. And so I was like, what is going on? I thought that it would be using weather data as well as local soil information, but apparently it was also my fault that no, it actually was only using weather data, but weather forecast alone is actually not enough. You actually don't know what actually happens in your soil if you only rely on weather forecasts. So I started looking around thinking that, okay, maybe I should just buy some kind of a soil sensor. And so I started looking online for various types of soil sensor. I actually bought a few of these. And what I discovered is some of these sensors actually aren't as durable, so they actually break very easily, while others are actually not as accurate. And we'll talk a little bit later in terms of why are they actually not accurate and what makes GeoDrops special. But long story short, after going through the journey of trying to find a really good soil sensor to use, I soon realized that, wow, in order to get a really reliable soil sensor, we actually need to go full commercial agricultural grade. That's where that's the only way to get a really reliable sensor. And not only that, the brand new Rachio irrigation controller I just bought is not actually usable because I actually need to completely replace the entire system. So that's kind of a bummer. So we're like, you know what? Given my background is actually from Google, so I was previously one of the Google data center platforms system chief architect. So I was like, you know what, I think we can actually do better. So I started talking to a few of my friends about, hey, like what are some of the things we can actually do? How can we do this and so on and so forth. So we got together and we were like, you know what? Given that we're pretty good with hardware and computer systems, let's see if we can actually do something better. Let's see if we can, because it definitely looks like there's a gap on the market. And after asking a few around for with a few people, we discovered that hey, we're not the only ones looking for this. There are many other people looking for something better, something that is a lot more reliable, but not paying a really really expensive price. And so we were like, okay, what can we do to make this better? So first of all, when we started designing GeoDrops, we're like, hey, we can actually use better materials. So this is pretty easy and standard, right? We basically use commercial grade construction materials to make GeoDrops. So it's very, very durable. It's built to last for years to come. But what is even more interesting and important is the way that we actually do the sensor design. We've been looking into various sensors and how it senses soil for a while. And the conclusion that we came to is for most sensors, and the picture you saw earlier, a lot of them, if it's actually capacitive based, is actually a single sensor plate. We discovered that capacitive sensing is actually great, but if you only have a single plate, you actually do not sense a large enough area, which basically means that your sensor readings are extremely noisy. So in order to adjust for that, we said that, okay, you know what, we're going to do volume sensing. So what we're effectively doing is a magnetic displacement. Dielectric displacement between the two probes. So that allows us to actually sense all kinds of different soil condition, and not only that, at really, really high precision as well. And so the end result is that for places like California, which is where we're from, most of us are actually in the Silicon Valley, San Francisco Bay Area. Over here, people love to grow roses just because it's drought. And so roses are often grown on sandy soil. So we need to make sure our sensors work on sand. On the other hand, also California is known for vegetables and fruits. So we need to make sure that it works great on compost soil. And of course, as many people know, for irrigation system, the most widely used application is actually lawns. And most lawns are actually grown on clay or clay loam soil. And so with the GeoDrop sensor design, we're able to tune it such that it works reasonably well across all the different soil types. And so you're able to plot something like this, as Andy actually showed a little bit earlier in his video. And so I'm actually really happy to report that as of today, after a lot of sensor tuning and also after having so many people helping us out from our large beta group, our sensors are actually quite accurate. It is so accurate that it's able to, so this is a photo of my backyard taken about 1 to 2 weeks ago. I've always been curious a few years ago in terms of, hey, why is the part of my lawn a little bit more yellow compared to another, right? And then I have actually done the Petri dish test, which is I actually measure and see is one part getting more water than another. And I was like, nope, my sprinkler system is actually relatively consistent. It's actually spraying roughly the same amount of water across my entire lawn. And so now having a GeoDrops in place, I'm finally able to see that, wow, like one side is definitely higher temperature than another. And not only that, the average moisture that's actually maintained on one side is definitely lower than another, right? And so for some people, they can then say, hey, I want to increase the amount of watering in one area, or for others like me who want to be a little bit more conservative in terms of water use, I'd be like, hey, as long as I have enough water moisture, right, like maintaining around 60% or so, then I make sure that my lawn's not dead, and I know by fall and winter time, the lawn will be healthy again, right? And so with GeoDrops, all of a sudden you're no longer guessing. You actually know exactly what is going on in your lawn. So yeah, but that's a lot of intro from me. Why don't we introduce Stanley, who can actually talk a little bit more about what other beta testers and homeowners have actually seen.
Thank
I
you, Lawrence.
see.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Fantastic. Hi, my name is Stanley, and I am the marketing PM. I do marketing and customer support here at Team GeoDrops. And I got involved with the team because of the potential to grow better plants, better lawns, save water as on top of the world-class engineering talent here. So over the past winter months, we were blessed with hundreds of applications, for the hundred. Sorry, we were blessed with hundreds of applications to get onto our beta testing program, and we are happy to announce that we have achieved tremendous diversity with this over 70 active beta users. I see many of them on the line here, so thank you for making time for this evening. Regardless of their background as retired or current technology managers and executives or master gardeners, many of them share the same story of hoping for something better, like something more than the smart irrigation controllers that they have right now. And they are located in 26 states and 3 provinces. So we pretty much made sure that all the major metropolitan areas and the major regions and climate zones are covered, ranging from plateaus to deserts to beaches to rocky soil in the Northeast. So, and we are happy to report that our community is super active. We are blessed with people that over a quarter of our beta testing community are super active. They're literally sending us detailed photos, like video shoots and documentation, both through email and online, and our GeoDrops Insider Facebook group. And I do want to point out that we have addressed the majority of the issues and bugs related to the core functionality of our product. And we are well on our way to get beyond the 1/3 of the feature requests that we have addressed already. And I am happy to report, regardless of the applications of how they're using the GeoDrops device, there are quite a number of them who are already depending on our numbers. Basically, they check our graphs on their apps every morning before deciding whether to manually turn on their sprinkler controller system. So, as you can see from the collage here, other than lawns, the GeoDrop system is installed on all types of different kind of soils and applications. And I want I wanted to play a couple of videos of stories of how our beta testers are enjoying the experience of testing GeoDrops Droplet. Sure.
No, I thought that the grass was dying because it was not watered enough. And, I would run out with my meter from time to time, but
Yeah, it's reporting
You trust-
excellent installation or sensitivity. It's matching perfectly. It's dead on with my manual moisture meter when I go out and I check and compare. I'll stick it in about an inch down, and then I'll stick it in about 4 inches down, and they're reading exactly the same.
Oh, quickly.
it's
then,
growing
or-
in overdrive.
Part of that's because I'm not overwatering and creating fungus situations, which I did have fungus this year. I had to treat it because I was overwatering.
Yeah, this is a Maverick laser infrared temperature sensor. So you point it at something, and you can see what you're pointing at, And as you move it around, it records the highest reading. And took a screenshot of your app showing the temperature. What I was looking for was highs and lows, and I think I did one middle range.
I have more tomatoes than I know what to do with. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the big platter of tomatoes there. And I'm almost getting sick of tomatoes. 3 or 4 times now, I've looked on the GeoDrops app and I've found out that it was down around the 60%, getting into 50% moisture range. But the ratio, I still can't pronounce it right, system, it didn't think that it needed to be watered the night before. It thought, based on its algorithm, that the vegetable bed was going to be somewhere around 90%. And it wasn't going to water that night either. And if I didn't immediately go on there and just do a, quick zone water for an hour, etc., then everything would have been dead. So it saved me 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, or right now when it's ridiculously warm and even higher humidity, it's just uncomfortable to be outside mid-afternoon.
Basically, it saves you from going out to hostile weather conditions when you don't really have to, right?
Right. I mean, if I'm going to be in the garden doing other things, that's not an issue. So, this time of year, I'm doing all my harvesting in the morning.
For our robotic lawnmowers, as just something to help people out, because the lawnmowers get stuck all the time, and it's always because of wet grass and a hill. The problem with these lawnmowers is you physically have to go to them and restart it. So it's, when it became available, I was going to buy them. Is that IFTTT would be, a real benefit for me and the people I know.
All right. So thanks, Stanley, and also thanks for all of our beta testers. Yeah, we really learned a lot. We actually discovered way more different use cases for GeoDrops than we originally anticipated. So next, which is I think what many of you are actually here for, is to talk more about GeoDrops AI. So just what is AI? Because AI is on the news a lot these days, right? And what is special about GeoDrops AI? And so before we actually continue, I want to play another short video.
I'm Peter, and currently the General Manager for Fujifilm in Europe, and I was previously the President and CEO of Fujifilm Recording Media USA for 12 years. As someone who has experienced the advancement of computer technology for the world's digital data transformation, I'm extremely excited about the next generation computer technology that the GeoDrop team is currently working on. Our smart homes are not just internet connected, but also proactively assist us in solving real-world problems, improving our standards of living, and helping make the world a better place. GeoDrops is an incredible product that combines the very best in enterprise-class hardware design, together with the latest in AI sensor processing technology, to be able to actually detect and process a large variety of different real-world soil conditions and anomalies, in order to provide an extremely tailored and precise recommendation of the best irrigation strategy and plant care recommendation. I'm excited about the additional features, such as the disruptive next-generation irrigation schedules that they are actively working on that will make the product even better in the future. Thank you.
All right, so that was Peter. He was the ex-president and CEO of Fujifilm Media USA. We were really blessed and lucky to have him as one of our company advisors. And so, so as Peter has actually mentioned, what people are actually seeing today, which is what we are already delivering to all the beta testers today, is just the tip of the iceberg. GeoDrops is an incredible sensor, but it's only a sensor. What we actually want to deliver is so much more than a sensor, but we're not ready yet, which is why we're still keeping GeoDrops in beta, even though the product itself as a sensor is actually relatively complete. So what many of you might have seen on the GeoDrops apps is that there's some depth information, right? But what we're not quite showing in the app, or maybe people have actually guessed in the app, is that it's actually full depth aware across the entire sensor probe range. And not only that, it is actually self-calibrating and self-learning. And so what GeoDrops actually see is something similar to this. Well, not exactly this, but something really close. So this is actually a self-driving car photo image from Waymo. And many self-driving cars behave something really similar. So in self-driving cars, when it comes to self-driving car AI, there are actually 3 stages. They're incredibly important. And GeoDrops does many of these things, actually. We're still actively developing this. So first of all, collection. You need to have an incredibly rich set of sensors to fully understand your entire surroundings. So we're going to talk about that a little bit more later. But on top of data collection, though, you actually need to have a very robust detection to be able to fully understand all the things that's actually going on around your device or around your self-driving vehicle. And then finally, from there, once you can fully detect and actually process things, then you can actually run prediction. So in the case of self-driving car, for example, it doesn't just detect all the cars. What it actually does is it's trying to predict how the cars are moving. So if there's a car that's actually coming along, does it look like the car is going to stop at a red light, or does it look like that car is actually going to run a red light, right? And if it thinks the car is going to run the red light, then the self-driving car algorithm will need to do something a little bit differently to ensure the safety of its passengers. And many of these things are actually very similar to what we're actually doing with the GeoDrops. So first, let's start with the data collection. In the app, people have seen the moisture chart, right, and maybe some temperature chart. But what's actually not showing is these are all the things that the GeoDrops device is actually able to measure and capture. It's across the entire range of the sensor probe. But on top of that, it measures things like soil moisture, the amount of air pockets within the soil, how well is the soil gripping onto the probe, which is incredibly important for good accuracy. And not only that, also things like, for example, evaporation rate. It actually understands the different levels of evaporation rates throughout the entire soil. Not only that, outside of the soil, it also understands things like surface temperature that's currently being reported in the app, but actually also knows the soil temperature near the top. So not just the absolute surface level. It can measure things like the amount of direct sun exposure throughout the entire day. And if you get occasional coverage or canopies throughout the day, right, it can measure that as well. So the sensors and what it's capable of measuring is actually incredibly rich. And so from there, we're then able to do detection. So what we're currently exposing and actually that's reported in the app is actually what we are calling sensor accuracy. So the sensor accuracy doesn't quite mean whether or not, hey, is the hardware accurate? Because the hardware works quite well. But rather, it's how well is the hardware measuring something in the real world environment. So these are actually some examples of things that GeoDrops, because of our beta device being in a lot of places, actually encountered in the real world. So on the leftmost example is ant. There's an ant nest, right? And so if ants are actually crawling and actually just digging up holes near the sensor probes, if you don't have AI, then the sensor will actually think, hey, the soil's really dry because it's actually measuring air. But with AI and doing all these advanced processing, it actually says, yeah, you know what? That doesn't look right. I'm actually measuring air and not dry soil. So I better report to the user that, hey, the sensor quality is not great. And then why is it not great, right? Explain the reason it's not great. And not only that, give a recommendation. So the AI system today actually gives users a recommendation in terms of, hey, should you wait, for example? Because sometimes if the device is just wobbly because someone touched it or kicked it, for example, it'll take a few days for the soil to settle, then that's fine. Or if it actually thinks that something worse, such as an nest or something else is going on, it will actually recommend and say, hey, you may need to relocate your GeoDrops, or hey, you may need to add water and things like that. So it's actually quite smart about it. Other things we've also found are things like, for example, gopher holes. So this was actually seen in one of the community gardens in the Silicon Valley in the San Francisco Bay Area, where a gopher actually dug a hole through the two sensor probes, right? And the device was actually just detecting really dry soil. But just with the amount of information we have, we're able to process and say, like, you know what? The AI system thinks that that is a huge hole. It's not just a small air pocket. It is a massive hole, like something weird is going on, right? And so it's actually able to process and recognize a lot of these things. And also lastly, just the amount of rocks, right? It's able to say, hey, like, do you have small rocks or large rocks? Are the rocks okay? Sometimes there's things that you only have a little bit of rocks. It'll actually say that, hey, you know what? The sensor quality is actually good or fair. Maybe it's not excellent, but it's workable, right? And so the system is actually quite smart to understand a lot of that. And next, here's what's under active development. So once we have all of those rich set of sensor data, if we can combine that together with weather forecasts, which is what a lot of smart home devices actually offer today, then we can actually take a lot of that and finally do accurate prediction. So we know that a lot of homeowners have been asking, it's like, hey, when will GeoDrops integrate with my Ratio or my other devices through IFTTT, right? We've been wanting to get this entire feature in before we actually implement for IFTTT, because we have seen too many examples, just way too many examples where if you're purely relying on sensor data, it's going to give you the wrong recommendation. And that's not what we're after. We really want to deliver a very accurate, a very usable recommendation and irrigation schedule that is accurate the vast majority of time. And not only that, we also want to be able to help people with gardening, because once you have all of the data, you can answer things like, for example, should I water 40 minutes every 2 days or 80 minutes every 4 days? Notice that across all of these choices, you're on average watering 20 minutes per day. But depending on your soil condition, right, depending on many other things that's actually going on, the recommendation is actually going to be a little bit different. And not only that, it's also going to make a difference in terms of not just whether it's sunny or cloudy, but whether is it just a little bit cloudy or is it very cloudy? Is the weather going to change quickly? And also things like, did you just mow your lawn, right? Because if you just mow your lawn, your soil the moisture in your soil will evaporate a lot faster than if the lawn grasses are actually really tall. And GeoDrops, having such an incredible set of sensors, actually knows and is able to measure the tiniest difference in between. And with a robust AI algorithm, people can stop guessing, and it can actually just tell you how to water. That is our end goal, right? And not only that, what if the weather forecast is not accurate, right? So for example, if there's a 50 chance of rain tomorrow, my soil is a little bit dry, how much, if any, should I water, right? With an advanced AI system, our goal is that in the future, we can actually look at the historic heuristics of weather forecast accuracy for everyone's local region. And from there, make a decision based on betting algorithm that actually says, hey, if the future forecast is not as accurate, this is what we're gonna do, right? Where we want to be more conservative or we want to be more aggressive. And a lot of times with a good AI system, it can actually give a pretty good recommendation. All right, and then lastly, I am very happy to report that as of today, thanks to all the beta testers, we are already training on over 85,000 hours worth of real-world field data collected on GeoDrops devices. But we need more. So for those of you who are engineers and are actually in the world of AI, you'll know that 85,000 sounds like a lot, but it's actually not enough. our guess is that we probably need about 10x more. And that's why we're here today, opening up for the second round of public beta, because we need to get a lot more devices out there. And the good news for you is that during beta time, we really want to encourage people to use GeoDrops as much as possible. So we would like to basically offer a kind of a discount on GeoDrops to get as many people to use GeoDrops as possible. And in return, that actually helps us collect a lot more real-world field data so that we can actually train the most robust, the most accurate AI irrigation algorithm in the world. Before we talk about, just lastly, before we talk about just opening up for second round beta, I would like to invite another one of our advisor, Carl, on stage to just share a little bit of his experience. Hi, Carl.
Hello, Lawrence. How are you?
Good. Thanks for joining us, Carl.
Thank you for
yours.
Inviting me.
Thank you.
So, hello, everyone. I'm Carl. I'm CTO of Western Digital HDD BU. As you know, HDD uses lots of sensors from magnetic sensor, temperature, humidity, air pressure, etc. So I have seen so many technology achievements by sophisticated sensors with a smart algorithm. The project at GeoDrop is really fascinating. It is the modern technology applied on a very, very amazing field, gardening field. The advanced moisture sensor, along with its AI algorithm, as Lawrence just explained it, really set a new standard for gardening. Its accuracy, as Lawrence shared, is almost 1 or 2 order better than the commercial sensors we've seen. And part of the accuracy will help the AI algorithm to converge fast. And this is why this accuracy is very, very important. The other is resolution. There is three level of information collected in the soil. As Lawrence said, 85,000 hours of data collected. There's also multiple 3 of data points. So all these create a reach for learning to build the eventually the AI kind of a recommendation. I really excited about, as I saw all these previous tests, the initial AI data already identified some of the issues and try to make this, try to really automatically make the data more consistent and going through the weather, going through the condition of the soil, all these things become a closed loop reading. So to a certain extent, this smartness is really what the potential of this GeoDrop is about. I got one sample, Lawrence, thank you for sharing and looking forward to use them. And one of the things, as at my home, there is 2 places I usually cannot fight with my wife. One place is kitchen, the other place is garden. She took care of the garden. She wanted to make sure she watered the place well and all these things. But with this GeoDrops, I think I can use this as a one way to participate the gardening. And part of the thing I see is that the GeoDrop give a more consistent way of how do we water the plants. And to a certain extent, this is what my wife didn't trust me. And I think this device will help me to overcome that concern she has. So personally, very excited to see this wonderful technology ready for pilot test. And I want to again thank Lawrence and the team for really deliver this wonderful technology. And I'm looking forward to test it out and also share our feedback to you. And thank this device, Lawrence. This helped me to have another topic with my wife. And I'm looking forward to do that.
Thanks, Carl. Well, we're so excited and so happy to have you help test our device as well. And by the way, I just want to let everyone that's on the live stream know that because this is a live stream, Carl will actually help stay around a little bit later in case people actually have questions for him, for me, for others, right? later. So if you have questions, please leave it on the YouTube comments, and we'll get to them a little bit later. All right, thanks, Carl.
Thanks.
All right, and then now I want to introduce Madhu, who's actually going to talk about how you can also how you can get your hands on GeoDrops. Hi, Madhu. Madhu, I think you're on mute. I think you're still muted. Yeah, still muted. It looks like your software is fine, but it may be your hardware. Like, yeah. And by the way, for everyone who's actually watching this live, I know that Madhu actually bought his brand new headset just for us. So, yes, we can hear you. And I know that yesterday when we were doing the technical trial, making sure the platform's all working, we were like, hey, your microphone has a bit of an echo. So,
okay, so since the mic didn't work, I'll just start speaking now that I'm audible. Hi guys, I'm Madhu. I'm the marketing consultant as well as the well-wisher for the GeoDrops team. And here is my journey. I actually started getting into this whole gardening thing about 10 years ago in the Bay Area. My wife is big time into gardening. So what we had back then was this timer device. You guys know you key in some schedule and you just hope and pray that your garden turns out to be fantastic. And usually it doesn't work. So we lived with that for about 3-4 years, didn't get good results, no proper vegetables, the lawn was really drying up. And our gardener recommended us the ratio system, and we got the ratio and it worked great. So we had the ratio for the last few years. And that's when I bumped into Lawrence. And lo and behold, I got my hands on the GeoDrops, and I would say that it's an order of magnitude better, like what you see in that slide. It's truly an order of magnitude better than the ratio system. It's exponentially better. It's much smarter. And actually, I would love to show you the backyard right now. It's the most perfect green lawn, and the vegetables are growing fantastic. It gives us great recommendations, and we're pretty happy. So that said, we are here to actually announce today the Beta 2 program. Today is when we are launching our Beta 2. We launched our Beta 1 back in May and the Alpha back in September of last year. But today is the most important day. And there are 3 advantages of the Beta 2 program. If you sign up for the Beta 2 by actually ordering a GeoDrops droplet, these are the advantages. The first one, you'll get it for $30 cheaper. For $69, you'll get the droplet, which is the exact same sensor design of a production device. So if you buy it right now, it works exactly the way it should if you get a production device. So why wait till, I don't know, 6 months or so for the production device? You can as well place the order right now, get it for $30 less. The second advantage of signing up for the Beta 2 program is you'll get a 30-day money-back guarantee, and you'll get 1-year warranty. And the third main advantage, and I would say this is the real kicker out here, is that for most AI devices, AI systems, you take a Tesla, for example, there's always a subscription fee. For the GeoDrops droplet, there won't be subscription fee for the lifetime of your device if you buy it right now through the Beta 2 program. So for the lifetime of the device, and I'm telling you, the device lasts super long. You don't need to pay any subscription fee, no monthly fee, no annual fee, nothing. It's totally zero cost. So that's a major advantage. And the last thing that makes me really want to buy it today is if you actually back us on Kickstarter, and we're going to launch it on Kickstarter pretty soon. If you actually back us on Kickstarter and buy or drop it on Kickstarter, you'll get full refund of this device, full refund. So that includes your full cost that you paid for getting the device. So here's the good news and bad news. There are only 50 devices that will be shipped immediately. So if you want to be part of the immediate shipment group, just go right now and place the order. $69, you'll get it shipped like really soon. If you wait a little bit longer, and if you're out of that 50, well, it takes about 3 weeks, but you're still okay. And beyond that, it's about 6 to 8 weeks. So I would personally recommend to go and just place the order right now, but you make your decision. I would go and buy one for myself right now because I have one. I'll place about 2 more orders. So I'm super excited for the GeoDrops team. They did a fantastic job, and I'm looking forward to my next 5 years of gardening. So off to Lawrence.
Thanks, Madhu. Thank you. All right. I'm going to put everyone on stage here. Let me see how to do that. All right. And actually, one other thing, Carl, can you see if you can increase your camera resolution? I don't know if it's because of a poor internet connection.
It could be my bandwidth of the Wi-Fi. I live in the mountain area, so that could be the choking point. Yeah, right. I select the 720. That's the highest it is on the menu.
No worries. All right. So we actually have a lot of questions on the side. I'm going to start working through them backwards, but if people have more questions, please type them as they come. We'll try to get through as many as we can. The first one I'm actually seeing is where to buy it on our homepage, geodrops.com. So if you go to our homepage, it should be actually live there right now. You should be able to actually buy it. It just went live. And then there were other questions about, will it work with existing beta devices if you're actually one of the lucky few who actually have a beta device? And the answer is actually yes. We actually put up an FAQ section on the website. And so if you read the FAQ, long story short, everything will work. If you got your device for free because you're on GeoDrops Insider, we will unfortunately need to ask for a device back from you. The reason for this is actually because of engineering-wise, we would like to do an extended field study. So basically, after an extended use, we would like to collect every single one of those 70 devices out there to do engineering teardown, just to make sure that our devices are designed to spec and they will actually last for many years to come. So that's the main reason why we actually need to ask for them back. But besides those 70 devices that we were giving out for free, right? If you actually order right now to help us and join beta, you'll get an incredibly accurate sensor. And then for us, it'll help us with AI training. So yeah. Let's see here. Other questions. Will this work with irrigating system? Yeah, I think there were several questions about like other system compatibility. Long story short, the app will give people notification. And if you have a smart system that's actually connected online, especially to IFTTT system, then it will actually work. It will actually have direct integration. one of the things that we have discovered is many irrigation systems, and many people are still on traditional, so that means timer-based irrigation system. So there's irrigation systems that are actually not Wi-Fi connected. We will actually be releasing an GeoDrops station. And so the station basically connects to your irrigation system via the rain sensor probe. And so what it effectively does is, instead of using the rain sensor to detect rain, we then basically use the rain sensor to regulate watering and saying, hey, your soil is actually wet, and treat soil being wet as if it's actually raining. So it will actually work really well with most irrigation systems out there using that overwritten protocol. Let's see here. Will GeoDrops work in potting soil? Yes, it will work great in potting soil. Can't find a Kickstarter page. Yeah, sorry, we haven't launched on Kickstarter yet. We'll actually have the Kickstarter preview page, the coming soon on Kickstarter preview page, up in a few weeks. Other questions. What's the correct number of devices required for a yard, or we should plan to move yard from time to time? So based on my experience, and you have to take this with a grain of salt, like your mileage may vary. For most yard, and I'm assuming that means on lawn, if the lawn is quite small, you really only need one. If it's large, I would actually recommend two. And the way to put two devices in the lawn is put one in where you think the grass has an average green yellowish color. So put it in the average area for one of the device, and put another one in a device in a location that is drier, but not fully dry. So for example, a lot of irrigation system, especially if you're on sprinkler heads, sometimes have what's called dead spots. So don't put in a dead spot, but rather put in a location where it's definitely getting water, but it's just a lot more yellow than other areas. But there are cases where I know of some of our beta testers actually have a 1 acre lawn, right? So for those examples, you probably need more than two, but it really depends on your situation. Let's see. So still going through the YouTube questions list. I'm actually scrolling up before I scroll back down. Zones. Okay, so people are thinking about irrigation integration. So if it's IFTTT based, you can actually assign one per zone, because IFTTT can, many systems can actually control it on a per zone basis, and it is dynamic on off. If not, you actually need the GeoDrop station in order to do more granular control. Right. Will there be an API for integration? That's actually one of our top feature requests. So we're actually working on that. Interested order, but cannot order sensor hub. Okay, so as explained earlier, right now, because we're still in manufacturing ramp, we are not able to produce too many devices yet. Because we actually want to have full factory assembly process control, quality control, and so on. So we're actually doing a very slow ramp. So there's a limit to how much we can actually manufacture. There's also a limit to how much the team can currently support, because many things are actually still in beta right now in terms of the full AI capability. For the full reimbursement, as people might have seen on the website, it's really limited to one per person. In terms of a hub or the station, you'll not be able to order that until Kickstarter goes live. Right. When will the station be available? Sometime next year. My best guess is by spring to summer next year. But that comes with a caveat that sometimes engineering schedule gets delayed. And so I would suggest wait until our Kickstarter is actually live, because by then we will have a much better grasp in terms of when we think we can deliver the station. Is it okay to leave the device in the ground through winter? Or should we move in the fall? So the answer is actually yes, it's actually okay to leave it through winter. It turns out most electronic devices don't really break in cold weather. The worst you'll get is that a battery doesn't work. But GeoDrops actually enters hibernation mode before that even happens. So in really, really cold winter, you will actually see your GeoDrops app reporting that there's no data from the device. And that is very normal, just because the temperature is too low. But it shouldn't break. The thing that we were really worried about when doing that engineering design is actually high temperature. And it turns out the thing that really that we really need to watch out for is actually not our device or the CPU or anything like that. It's actually the battery, because we can do really good cooling, really good heating design for the chip and everything. And this is also one of the reasons why the battery is actually buried underground. So if you actually see most other sensor devices, they actually put the battery on top because they just want a single insertion. We went through that and we were like, nope, like if we truly want to survive a really hot summer in the area, we have to put the battery underground because the soil helps cool down the battery significantly. That actually was one of our biggest design limitation. Will the app show multiple GeoDrops data together? Yes, that's actually one of our top feature that we're actually working on. We'll be releasing really soon in the next update. I'm starting to realize that I've been answering most of these questions. Many of these are actually engineering. I should have gotten our engineers on the line, because all we have are our marketing people on the line. Do people have questions on like marketing or anything like that, or even for Carl? Because it's really rare to have Carl here with us too. All right, so let's see other questions. Many of these are engineering. I'll go through these pretty quickly. So rain sensor, if you have more than one sensor installed. So as mentioned earlier, if you have a smart irrigation controller, that's not a problem because it goes through internet. So over there, you can have a very rich protocol. If you have a traditional controller, you have to get a GeoDrop station. So the station can actually alternate between irrigation schedules and zones and so on. So we'll explain more when it's time to release the station, but that is not a problem. Once you have a single station, you can support a very large number of zones. Does it have a new seed mode? The answer is actually yes. This device actually measures soil surface level, moisture, as well as temperature. So it can definitely help with that. That feature is not yet turned on because there's, just to be perfectly honest, there's so much a device can do. And as Stanley has shown in one of the prior slides, we have a huge backlog of feature requests. So we're prioritizing, trying to tackle one feature request at a time. But the device is definitely capable of that, and we will be adding a lot of these features over time. We send how to back you on. Yep. Well, so the best way to actually stay up to date in terms of just knowing about when Kickstarter will go live and so on is to join our, make sure you're on our newsletter. If you're already on our newsletter, you'll definitely be hearing from us a week or more in advance before we go live on Kickstarter. Let's see here. Oh, marketing question. Yay, thanks, Sarah. So that question, I will redirect it to either Stanley or Madhu. The question is there a stronger marketing campaign planned to reach out more aggressively and raise awareness of the product? Because we want more people to know about it.
Absolutely. We're working on it, actually.
Thanks, Madhu. Consider partnering with a major brand like Ratio is the long-term vision to be your own brand. We're playing by ear here. So we haven't really thought that far. One thing that we know for sure is that we really need to make sure the technology is ready. So until the technology is fully ready, right? And the thing that's really needed here is just more beta tester, more beta devices, and helping us with more data. Until the AI algorithm is trained to a state where it is in a much better shape and actually ready for production release instead of being in a beta state. Yeah, like until we actually reach that state though, we're still leaning heavier on engineering mode than on the marketing side. How do I get on your newsletter? Go to our website, www.geodrops.com, and then scroll further down. I think in the middle of the page and at the bottom of the page, there's a newsletter sign up. Looks like there are a few payment issues. If people are having issues with payment, please send us an email you can find our email on our website. At the very bottom, there's an email link. Just click on it. It's inquiry@home2g.com. We'll assist you via email. How often will we provide feedback during final beta session? So for the second beta, the current plan, and we're still thinking through this in terms of how to execute this, is people who want the GeoDrops device in the second public beta want it for a different reason. Some people actually want this simply because it's a great sensor and they may be really busy such that they have limited time to actually provide feedback. Some people may be really eager and just would love to provide bug reports, feature requests, and so on. So we really want to make sure that we can adapt to different people's situation here. So we're still working on the full details, but the thinking here is that if people have bug reports, right, and are willing to provide bug reports and feature requests and whatnot, we're all ears. But if you're really busy, don't worry if you're too busy and don't have time to actually provide a feedback, right? And so we were really lucky, as Stanley said earlier, to have just so many active participants, some of them very active, right, from the first wave beta already. And so we don't mind getting more, but in the meantime, we currently have more bugs and feature requests than we can handle, just to be honest. Stanley, anything you want to add, or?
To the features or the recent questions coming in,
or maybe we should also chat over here. Like, how much time are you actually spending doing all the user support? Because I've seen you replying to people's emails at like midnight and having like incredible turnaround times within hours to people's requests.
Well, in the beginning, when we had a lot of bugs, probably about like 10 to 20 hours a week. Now it's more like closer to like 5 or 10, depending on whether there are like issues. And then I actually see a couple more questions about swags or whether we're going to be on Amazon eventually. Speaking of Amazon, the answer is yes, although the timeline depends on when we are through the Kickstarter campaigns, because Kickstarter will be next on our agenda while we work out more features and kinks with this current wave of beta that we're promoting.
Yeah, on Amazon, they actually do not allow you to sell devices more than 30 days in advance than when it's available in your inventory. So unfortunately, we cannot do pre-ordering on Amazon. But when we're ready, like Sandy said, we'll definitely be on Amazon.
Right. And swags.
People want swag, Stanley. Maybe Stanley, you'll help us with swag design. and Madhu
Yeah.
can help too.
Definitely, definitely something to consider for sure. Let's see here. I'm just looking at the other questions that are coming in through the live stream. Oh, I actually see quite a few questions about shopping cart issues or Apple Pay and Google Pay issues. So if you're running into issues, please send us an email at inquiry@homedigi.com. I typed it a few times in the chat window. So thank you for your patience as we work out the issues with our shopping cart software right now.
Right. And I saw another question. And by the way, we'll probably call a hard stop in another 5 minutes because we're already running a few minutes overtime. I saw a question about, I think there was a question about AI, but I might have missed it. Anyways. Oh, I see it now. Can you explain how AI is actually being used? It's actually fully explained on the device ordering page as well. And it turns out, because many people are questioning, turns out like, oh, data collection, like will there be like privacy issue and so on. And so, yeah, we actually have a full privacy policy document written thanks to our wonderful corporate counsel, Mike. He actually helped a lot with that. And so, as explained thoroughly in the privacy policy document in the section talking about like sensor devices and what we actually collect, we only collect and store soil information, and in particular, only two pieces of information: temperature and moisture that's stored in the form of dielectric vectors. So the super rich set of all the sensor data that you have actually seen, they're effectively just dielectric vectors, but in different permutations and extrapolations in order to very accurately calculate all of those metrics. And so those are the only data we're actually storing from the sensor device. And so if people are worried about like, are you storing my GPS coordinates or like doing Wi-Fi scanning and things like that? No, we're not storing any of that from the GeoDrops hardware. Your Wi-Fi information, for example, that the device actually used to connect to your home Wi-Fi is only stored on the device and is never uploaded to the cloud. So we ensure that we only store soil information for AI training. Let's see here. So many people have issues with Apple Pay, so interesting. That's kind of unexpected given Square is such a large platform. Oh, there's another question about beta device tester down the road. Will we offer multi-device discounts? The answer is yes, definitely yes. So look forward to that coming on Kickstarter. We don't offer it this time because the intent this time really is, and this is the whole reason why we only offer maximum one reimbursement per person, is because we're hoping to get more people, more variety of people, and more locations. So that we can have a larger variety of data. But once we get to Kickstarter, where people are basically backing us for advanced reservation of the final product, definitely, there will definitely be multi-device discounts. All right. Looks like there are no more questions, and it's almost time. All right. So once again, thanks everyone for joining us live, and please definitely help spread the words. Right. We actually need a lot more people to know about us. And so if you like what you're seeing, if you like what you're actually hearing, definitely help spread the word. All right. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Lawrence. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.